Red 2 standing by, all 4 lit and in the green. Welcome back to Metroid Fusion. We're about to find out what's behind the red door. What secrets have been hiding? Let's go in. It's another cave. It's more than just a cave. There is a camera or something there. And caution, keep out. What is going on? Why on earth is there just this laboratory area? Let's shoot it. We can't shoot it.
Warning, no entry without authorization.
Okay.
Warning, no entry without authorization.
Much like Emergency in Sector 3, we're going to have to put up with this blaring. Okay, so we've found somewhere we probably shouldn't have found. So we have to get out of here, and there's only really one way. And that's backwards. So we kind of know what's going to come next. We have to do that. There was a loud thumping that was happening as I was going through the door. So, as that voice drones on endlessly, apologies if my voice is droning on endlessly, we have to go all the way back here. And the water is electrified. Now, we have to take on Box. It will actually try and jump at us. Basically, you can cheese the fight by standing here. Wait for it. And that's the perfect spot to put a diffusion missile into its core. Basically, you can cheese the fight by by just staying here, because otherwise it will try to ram you and you'll get electrocuted. The water is basically the same as Sector 4. Shoot down its missiles, charge your diffusion missiles, and hit it right in the core. You can essentially trick it into a gameplay loop doing things this way. This is slow, but it's safe. Creates a pretty easy approach. But yeah, we're facing off against the X-infected Box, and yeah, pretty simple to handle. If you're smart about it. I mean, I usually cheese the fight because it's nice to be able to have a slightly easier run on things. Now, a while earlier, I remember trying to talk about fights between the Ing and the X. I suspect the X might win because the X can take over pretty much any biological force, and they can even steal DNA from dead creatures and use that. The fact they can create their own mix and match critters is pretty impressive. Ing possession does actually have a significant advantage though, because it does make the creatures stronger. The Ing can also possess mechanical life forms. Now I believe that the X could ultimately possess the Ing, but I don't know if the Ing can possess the X. The X might be able to possess an Ing-infested creature, or the Ing might be able to possess an X-infested creature. And I don't know what would happen there. I suspect the X might win. But, crucially, the Ing actually have two big advantages. There we are. Box is dead, and the Core X is going to appear. It's a Beam Core X. Which will give us the Wave Beam. There we go! So yeah, as I was trying to say, the Ing can possess machines. They can possess just about anything. It's implied that they can't actually possess dead things. Because they actually wind up... when you fight the Dark Missile Trooper, it's implied they've possessed the powered suit rather than the actual trooper, which explains the jerky movements, because the actual trooper is dead. But the Ing can possess machines, whereas the X cannot. The threat of the X is exactly why they sent the Emmy along. So our beam can now shoot through walls. We are almost completely tooled up. We've still got to listen to that annoying voice, though. But yeah, the Ing also have one very important tactical advantage over the X, apart from being able to possess machinery. They can possess Metroids. The Ing might have the edge depending on the circumstances, but basically there is a reason the Emmy was sent, because they knew the X couldn't possess those. The mere threat of the X was enough to send the Emmy. Unfortunately, they weren't immune to Ravenbeak, as we're going to see. Let's go on through here to the restricted zone. Now, there is somewhere we can wind up. We can actually wind up getting a pickup later on in the game. We've got a save room just in case, and I am going to save because I'm kind of terrible at one of the bits that's coming up. So, as we sneak through our lab, to the best of my knowledge, we can't get the pickup that's in here just yet. That crate there gets in the way, because if we shine spark up through there, we will actually wind up getting a special pickup. I think it's a power bomb tank.
Recording to
And
logbook.
that's not good. We've got Metroids. We have infant Metroids. They were all dead at the end of Super Metroid. All of them were dead. The only reason Metroids came back in the first place is because the bioweapons faction of the Federation cloned them from DNA taken from Samus's suit. It's also how we got the Metroid vaccine, but we see Metroids here. We've got the regular Metroids. We've got the Alpha Metroids. We've got Zeta and Gamma Metroids as well. What's going on? Why are these here? Oh, that's not good. Something's gone wrong. Sounds like shooting. The SAX is actually trying to kill the Metroids, and they're attacking it. Now, the Metroids will interrupt our jumping, but they don't actually hurt us. Okay. We have to get out of there quick smart. The restricted area falls away. And explodes. So down there... wonder if we can... we might be able to break it with the speed booster. But we're going to get another lecture. It's going to be a nasty one.
Samus, you shouldn't have done that! You ignored your orders! You may have to pay a price for that quite soon. As you can see, the Federation has been secretly working on a Metroid breeding program. For peaceful application only, of course. Please understand.
Which sounds like something from a Nintendo Direct.
What are you on about? But perhaps you already knew of this program's existence. Certainly, you must have had doubts when you saw Sector 1. SRX, a faithful replica of the SR-388 ecosystem. Ideal for raising Alpha, Gamma, Zeta, and even Omega Metroids. This research even uncovered techniques for rapid growth. Imagine creating an Omega from a larval Metroid in days. But that research is finished. The X has smelled out its natural enemy, and one of the SAX is on its way here.
One!
Are you saying There is more than one SAX? Don't be so surprised, Samus. You know that the X reproduce by asexual division. Because of this mechanism, there are now no fewer than 10 SAX aboard the station. Samus, you must go. Get out. If you stay too long, the SAX will destroy you. Stop only at a navigation room to uplink to me. I don't know how HQ is going to take this, but you need to report to them immediately. Is your objective clear? Now get going!
There is only one way out. Just not enough room to use the Shine Spark up here. We have to come back for that. There is only one path to take. Up the elevator we go. The real Adam would have said the same thing about that incident, but he would have softened the blow. He was relentless in his criticism, but he always cared. He's not a machine obsessed with duty. No such compassion could exist in that computer. Sector 1. Let's go. I don't think there's anything we can get in this room. Through here. And this looks very different. This resembles Turian. If we charge up our diffusion missiles here, we can get ourselves another energy tank. Very nice. Drop down. Oh. Well, might as well take care of those and sneak past the Rippers as well. Why though, is there an area that resembles Turian in here? Who's playing at this? What on earth is going on? Things are getting stranger and stranger each time. Oh, that's big, that's dead. It almost feels like we're about to walk into a fight against Mother Brain. Did they have to do this as a means of controlling the Metroids? Now, I think it's in here. There was a pickup I was going nuts trying to find. There it is. So if we drop through here, we have to use the wave beam to take out the yard here. We avoid picking up the parasite, and we let it form into a Garibus. We take that out, and we get a brand new enemy. And then the door opens. We get a powerbomb tank. I was going nuts trying to find that. I mean, crazier than I probably already am. Is there anything else we can find in this area? Nope. It's interesting that they huddle against the explosion. How unusual. Now there is this, this is a save room. There is a room with a whole lot of Genesis enemies in them, but I don't think it actually does anything. Now, if we can bomb our way through here... Oh, you're not friendly. Let's take care of that. There is something else up here. Okay, so going through the doorway we saw earlier actually doesn't do very much for us because we can't proceed without the item we are going to get. So, we can bomb our way through here, but note that the door is closed. Now, note what I'm... Note what I've been doing against those gold space pirates. Note how I've been turning around. Because there is a glitch when you fight them. Gold space pirates can only be killed by being shot in the back. But the game doesn't actually check for this. What it checks is to see that Samus is facing the same way as the gold space pirate when damage is determined. Subsequently, if you wind up shooting at them and turning around, it will register the damage, which is really, really clever. Let's go on through here. Now if we head this way, another save room. So obviously there is something big coming up. And I think given the design of this area, we all know what it is. Now it's this room. I haven't worked out what is meant to be in here. I suspect there's something in here, I just don't know what it is or where it is. I've always wondered, like, why is it here? It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like this room has a purpose. It feels like it should. And yet it doesn't. I won't waste too much time stuffing around. We'll move on. So we know what's coming up now. Let's go in and have our date with Destiny.
Recording.
There he is, the desiccated husk that was Ridley in Other M. Drained dry by the Metroid Queen and left for dead. Well, left actually dead. Now reinfested by the X. Let's do this. Wow, the wave beam really rips through him. So basically, you just blast away at Ridley with your best weapons. That hasn't changed. That has always been the staple part of Ridley fights. Who's stronger? Who's more tooled up? You or him? Wow, last time I used missiles and that was hard. The wave beam really does rip through him. But you will notice something about this. The music is slower. It's a little more ponderous almost. And the fight itself, if you know what you're doing, isn't quite as challenging. At least not in the way it used to be. Like, Ridley's dead. We know that Ridley's dead. He was killed for real on planet Zebes. And any remains were blown up. We can now take out the Rippers. For some reason, he was revived by the Federation scientists in charge of the bioweapons program in Other M, though it's implied this was an accident. They kind of cocked up there. Basically, When Ridley was killed and drained on the bottle ship, he was brought here. So we fight the X clone of Ridley because you can't have... You basically need a showdown against Ridley. Or at least you did until Metroid Dread proved you didn't. So you fight Ridley. It looks like Ridley. It sounds like a tougher... It looks like Ridley, sounds like Ridley, mostly fights like Ridley. But it's not Ridley. It's just a clone. An artificial, soulless copy. Samus even ruminates on this, noting that the X, they can replicate the form, but they cannot replicate the soul. The fight is that bit easier compared to past Ridley battles, because you're not really fighting Ridley. You're fighting a facsimile of Ridley. And that's all it's ever going to be. That you just, at the end, you wind up fighting a copy that cannot be the original, and it's kind of almost an anticlimactic end to one of the galaxy's most notorious forces of destruction. Unceremoniously drained and slaughtered by a Queen Metroid, and ultimately left as another tool of the X. Not even himself. We've given Ridley his swan song. And you'll note we're back in the area we recognize in Sector 1. But yeah, there's no... The original Ridley is no more. He died on planet Zebras. That fight is just a copy that can never stand up to the original. And that's why it's that bit easier. Because it's sort of what I've ruminated on when it comes to things like the whole furor surrounding AI art and things like that. It's essentially... Oh, that's not good. That's a Metroid husk. But leaving that aside for a moment, it's one of the reasons I have a dislike of it. It has to steal. Humans can imagine and create things. Without something to steal from, without something from which it can take all its quote-unquote creativity, the X, and indeed AI art, they can't do anything, and they can only make mockeries and abominations. They can't truly mimic the original. They can't create the very essence that makes the original the beautiful thing it is. More missiles. You just wind up getting a twisted mockery, like you see the exaggerated proportions, the oversized busts, the ridiculous number of fingers, and the occasional body horror, really. There's another Metroid husk, that isn't good. There's not too much difference as far as I'm concerned between the X and those AI art programs. They steal with destructive fervor, not caring, only propagating what they want. And it's terrible as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm always going to relish that sense of creativity. I can't always put my words... I can't always frame it the best way I want to. I can't always describe things without sort of sitting down and writing it. There it is. That's what I've been looking for. Because if we go the normal way, we're going to get a very big lecture. But on the other hand, if we sneak into Sector 2, we can actually go item hunting. We can clean up the last few things we need. So we're in a pretty good position. Excuse me, you can die. So, note these Kagos here. Vulnerable to the screw attack. We're actually not too far from a really, really difficult item we can pick up. So yeah, I've done my little castigation of AI art. I absolutely hate it. Because I've got quite a lot of friends who are artists. and I relish their creativity. And artists really, really do basically undersell their hard work. They wind up going for basically less than minimum wage. Just to try and put their work out there, and then somebody who either hasn't got the ability to pick up a pencil or just only sees the financial value of everything and cannot ascribe any other sense of worth to it, comes along and devalues them. It's never a real job unless somebody wants to steal from their work. And that's why I do liken them to the X, because the X can't do anything without stealing something. This is a pain in the butt. This entire thing. Collapsible blocks. We have to let that collapse so we can wind up getting the power bomb tank. The power bomb tank might be the hardest one to get. Okay, we got it. Now I can wrap things up. And we'll continue the item search in the next episode. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll have a moment's peace in the security room. Till next time, this is Red 2, returning to base.